Welcome back to another episode of Buckle Up, an ultra running conversation. Mandy, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well, Brian. It's another day of juggling all the things, trying to be home and present for the kids. Well, I've got one kid home right now. Finished up some course cleanup, called a sanitation company because there's porta potties still out on my course, hitched up a trailer, and now I'm having coffee with you. So it's great. How are you?
Yeah, you're right. I get it as the entrepreneur that kind of works from home. I got the kids home from school for summer. There's a lot going on, a lot of moving parts. As much as, I enjoy summer with my kids, it is a lot of work. There's a lot of things going on, moving parts with sports, different things. I think today, though, my wife is home. She works odd hours at the hospital. So today is an odd Wednesday that she is actually home. And so I'm off the hook for a few hours before I run around tonight, picking up one of my two children at some sort of activity.
Dad Uber.
Yeah, no kidding. But anyway, hey, do you like running in the heat?
Running in the heat. I do not like running in the heat.
Okay, if there's a warm wind, it's summer, it's a warm wind. Do you want it at your back or your front? You want the warm wind at your back. Okay.
I want the wind. I want the wind away.
Okay. Yeah, but sometimes it feels stuffy in front of your face if there's a light breeze in front, even if it's warm. So I don't know. I guess I didn't specify the mile per hour of the wind, but in Windsor, we know it's usually pretty rough. So anyway.
Yeah, it can be really windy. I enjoy running in the wind. I've come to enjoy it as like a strength training workout. Like that's how I see it. Like if the wind is pushing against me, I'm like, oh, today's strength running
It's
day.
resistance training.
It's resistance training. Yeah. And it changes it. I'm not a big fan of running in the heat. I did force a lot of runners to run in extreme heat this past weekend. It was almost 100 degrees and we had a 12-hour last person standing.
Let's clarify that a little bit so that you don't get some hate mail from that. So they chose to participate in an event where there was some extreme heat at your event. So you didn't force runners to run in the heat. Okay,
that's true. I didn't order the heat. Also, I changed the route on our half marathon runners, so they only had to run one giant hill one time instead of two times. And we cut it off at 12 hours. So I'm probably getting some hate mail as well with like, it's not last person standing if it ends in 12 hours. Well, to be fair, our family is burnt out on putting on metal for 4 days by the time we get to this event. And so 12 hours just feels like that's plenty of time. Like 12 hours is good. We get to go home, be done at the end of the day.
If I would have signed up and lasted 12 hours, it was clearly noted in the context and the race information prior to starting the event. So I knew that 12 hours is all I had to do, in air quotes, because that's 50 miles. It's still a far way to go. It's a great day, especially if it was hot and sticky and muggy and all those things. And I think you started at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. and it went to 8 p.m. So that's a great day of running.
It was great. I only almost called 911 once. Last year we had someone not fueling well and like heat stroke symptoms set in pretty fast. So this year, same thing, but we were able to manage it pretty quickly. And so it was a success. And we made it down to 2 runners and there were so the way that it works is the last lap, whoever comes in the fastest. So if there's more than one person standing in the 12th hour, that last lap becomes a race. And then that's how the standings are. So this year we had 2 people left at hour 12 because it was brutally hot. And Brady and Dylan battled it out. And Brady had been in the lead this whole time. So Brady's like was hype and was like, yeah, I've got this, So everyone thought Brady was for sure the winner. We were all taking bets at the end. And then come to find out Dylan came in first and Brady trailed behind him a little ways. And it was a fun fight to the end.
I think Dylan had maybe some strategy to it. Maybe he not sandbagged. I wouldn't say sandbagged by any means, but maybe he backed off, maybe laps 9, 10, and 11 and kind of conserved a little more energy so he could push and race for 12. And so maybe that was a good strategy. Well, apparently it worked for one of them. It worked for Dylan. Was it Dylan?
Dylan, yeah. So check out my Instagram post. You'll see pictures of them. They're wearing matching American flag shorts. I didn't know if
that was race issued gear because they look exactly similar.
It should have been. Next year, I'm going to get chicken legs to sponsor and provide everyone.
Well, it was red, white, and blue. Brew is the name of the event, so it fit the theme of the race, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. So next year I'm gonna probably provide like race gear clothing that they can wear, like the shorts. But Scoletti was there.
Oh yeah. So your MC is Matt Scoletti, and he was also at Monumental, and that's where I met him. And he is an intricate part of your series, right? I mean, he's kind of like the voice behind the race, right? He hypes everyone up. He's getting everyone pumped up. That's kind of I was thinking about it after the fact, and that's kind of like a tough job. Like if you're not feeling it, you're not having if I'm not feeling it and I'm not having a great day, I just kind of like, I'm usually an extrovert, but there's days where I just kind of like want to introvert. I just put on my shoes and go on the trail. I won't put music on or anything. I can just get in my own head and run for a bit and kind of feel better about it. Then I can come back and be lively. But as an MC, you have to just show up lively. So I don't know if he gets jacked up on energy drinks and coffee all day and he's just pumped, but
Dude,
he does work the crowd pretty well.
He does. He does. So I used to MC all of my events myself, and I love MCing my events. I know a lot of my runners, a lot of them are repeat. I am like hype girl. I do this for that hype and like relating to them. However, it's really hard as the race director to call 911 or talk to the police if we've got someone lost on the course or whatever, like handle aid station things as the race director while I'm also trying to hype you up and celebrate you at the finish line. So I began to feel like I was doing my runners a disservice by not hiring someone in that role to do that. And Scoletti is amazing. Since then, we talk about it in our interview with him coming up next here. Since then, he has emceed or taken on roles with, he's done Spartan races, he's done it for Clearwater Marathon, so a bunch of other races across the country that he's getting in line with. And really, he fuels himself on caffeine, little caffeine. I don't see him drink a lot, but I know he drinks coffee, a little bit of water, bananas, and bags of trail mix all day long. He doesn't eat meat. He's eating really well all day long. I'll see him like have an apple every once in a while. He's just jacked on life and energy, and you'll hear it in our interview with him that he just lives every moment to the fullest, and he brings that to everything he does in his life, and then he also brings it to all of these races that he's a part of with us.
Yeah, it was great to get to know him a little bit better in our conversation that you'll hear in a second here. He has a couple like defining moments, I feel like, in his life, or at least that's what he talks about in this interview, particularly one where he finds sobriety, another one where a guy offers him a cheeseburger, and it all encompasses like the Scoletti that we see or hear in this interview right here. So it's a great conversation. Hey, thanks for tuning in, guys. Please like, share, comment, subscribe in all the places. We appreciate you. If you have a friend or a guest that you think would be a good fit for us, send it on over to DMs, either to Mandy or myself. And again, thanks for being here. Here's Matt Scoletti. Without further ado, take care. Hey, Matt Scoletti, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. I know you guys are really big friends, and I only met you just recently, but gosh, you are the life of the party, and that's why you have the honors of being the MC for Run Windsor at most of their events, if not all of them, if I'm not mistaken.
A lot of them, half of them ish.
We tried to snag him for all, but he's gone big time since he started this MC gig, and now I've got to compete with like Ironman and Spartan.
I don't know what she's talking about. Run Windsor's top priority always.
An Ironman? Because I might do an Ironman just to hear you say, Brian Pisani, you are an Ironman again. Because Mike Riley was famous for that. I mean, that was a famous dude, Mike Riley. I don't know what happened to him now, but when he was doing it, he was famous.
Yeah, he retired a little bit ago. Yeah, I think his year was the year that I did my first one. He announced me coming across. Yeah, he's nice. He's iconic. Yeah.
Yeah, that was like one of the. I mean, of course, you know all the other things about Ironman, but I was like ready for it. I was like, all right. Told my wife, I was like, you got to get that recording like somehow. Like I want that soundbite of Brian Pisani. You are an Ironman. Yeah,
it's so true. That's the only clip I have from my first Ironman is that 10 seconds of him saying that. Yeah.
So will you have a new saying then, Scoletti?
Ooh, yeah. What's your take on it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I need to come up with something that's a little bit different from that. I haven't thought about it.
Yeah.
I said I did a couple 70.3s, so you can't say that the person's an Ironman because it's not the full Ironman. So I need to come up with, maybe it's just like you are an iron, and that's it because you haven't done the whole thing. I don't know.
You are a fraction of an iron.
And 50%. Gosh, I mean, in our time of changing things around, like Lead Man went to Lead Challenge, like Iron Man is still Iron Man, and it's not like Iron Person or Iron Athlete. Iron Athlete might be a good one. That's be something you could use.
You're an Iron Athlete. If I say that and use it, Brian, I'm giving you full credit every time I say it.
Every time you say it, you have to say credit Brian Pisani.
Whatever it takes to make you happy, my man. I'm in.
Yeah. Well, let's back up a bit. Welcome to the show. Thanks for jumping in. As you could tell, if you're listening, this is going to be an exciting conversation. Matt Scoletti is full of energy and sass and all those things, and he's ready to throw it back to Mandy and I. And that's awesome because I love these conversations. But let's back up a bit and talk about like your history with sport. This is a running podcast, so I know MCing is important in the running world. But you do have a lot of sporting accolades as well to your name and your credit. So let's hear a little bit about your sporting history and how you found yourself here on this podcast on Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah, no, first off, that's the first time I've been introduced with sass. So I will now try to bring that from the rest of the podcast. I appreciate that.
That can't be the first time.
Yeah, maybe not. You might have said it, Mandy, but
it's got to be in your resume somewhere.
King of sass. Maybe I'll think about that.
Wikipedia page description. It says sass right in it. That's where I got it from.
That's where you got that from. That's all it says. Sass. So my the definition of sass. So I was a basketball player in high school, and we used to have to go out and run 2 miles as a warm up, or like maybe it was a mile. It was the least favorite thing that like I hated it. Every time coach was like, "We're going to the track to run X amount," I was like, "Oh, let me just play basketball. Like I don't want to go out there and run." And then fast forward 2019, that was the first marathon that I ran. And I'll just give you a quick background. I would think I always wanted to run a marathon, but I didn't have a why. Like I didn't have a strong enough reason to do it. And Mandy, you wanted to learn something about me on the podcast. You may not know this. So there was a shooting in Pittsburgh, and I think it was in October of 2018, and there was 11 people that were killed in this shooting and this Tree of Life Jewish synagogue. And it was near and dear to my home. Like I live a couple miles from where this happened in Pittsburgh, and that was the why. And I thought, okay, what can I do to show that love conquers hate, that gives some people some hope that it's not all bad. And yes, hate and negativity and a horrible act won in the short term, but long term, I believe love is always going to win. So I strapped an 11-pound weight vest on myself, which was 1 pound for every victim of the shooting. And I decided I'm going to run the Pittsburgh Marathon because it's really the biggest event in Pittsburgh in a given year. And that was like the why. And I thought, okay, now I have a deep, deep reason to do this, and ended up running that marathon. And I just fell in love with running after that. I mean, I love Pittsburgh through and through. So I wanted to do something that was positive, but also I didn't know at the same time I would fall in love with running. And 2 weeks later was the Cleveland Marathon. And a neighbor of mine said, "Hey, do you want to go to the Cleveland Marathon with me?" And I said, "I just ran Pittsburgh like 3 days ago." And at that time, I wasn't surrounded by runners. So it sounded insane to run another marathon 2 weeks later. I'm like, well, I'm going to do it. And there was some backlash with people that I was acquaintances with at the time. You're going to hurt yourself. You're going to crush your knees. You're going to get injured. And it wasn't like I was running at a blistering pace. But after the Cleveland one, and I wasn't injured, it went great. Everything was fine. I thought, what's the next thing? And I've just been somebody who I was obsessed with drinking alcohol for 15 years. I was an alcoholic for a long period of time. And I really just changed that obsession for a healthy one. And it just so happens to be that running became the new obsession for the next few years. So yeah, I'll talk about any piece of that you guys want me to dive deeper on, but that's how my love of running began.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So we started the podcast today, and Scoletti and I have gotten to know each other really well over the last couple of years, like so fast. I mean, the first time I met him, I was like, okay, this guy, we're going to be friends. And now I consider your wife to be one of my dearest friends, just such authentic humans. But when we started this podcast, I'm like, I feel like I've heard definitely not all the stories, but I challenged Matt to tell me something new about himself. And I didn't know that about your first race. What? Was that before or after you stopped drinking? I'm trying to piece the time together.
Yeah, the Pittsburgh Marathon, I stopped drinking, I mean, hopefully, fingers crossed, forever in 2016. So the Pittsburgh Marathon was in 2019. And I think the other thing I realized through all of that was I had done a lot of fitness events for myself, just for me. And that was really the first one that I did that was like, it almost felt like, not in an ego way, but like the city was so behind me. And I think I told my parents the day before, it would have taken like a sledgehammer to my knee to not finish that marathon, because it wasn't about me. It was about something bigger than that. And so that was the first time I realized, if you have a goal that's way bigger than you, there's things that you can do that I didn't even think were possible. And hopefully we'll continue to do that. And I know you guys know that because you run a crazy amount of ultras in your lives as well.
Yeah, I could totally relate to that on a lower level. I had somebody way back in the day, I was teaching a spin class, and I wanted to go do Ironman Arizona. And quite honestly, I mean, I was like poor and broke-ish, right? I mean, I was just getting by with spin classes. I worked as a lifeguard. I didn't really make much money. And one of the participants in the class, you know, this older lady, she came after, she said, "Why don't you go do that race you wanted to do?" And I said, "Well, it's just not in the cards this year. It's just not here or there, da 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 da." And then 2 days later, I got an email that had signed me up for Ironman. She had paid my way, the whole entry fee, at the time, like $675. And I mean, this was like 05, 06 or something like that. So, you know, quite a ways ago, but it put a whole new meaning on it. I mean, I trained so hard, I did everything, and just like you said, there was no stopping me from doing it. It was a power bigger than myself. It wasn't like it was my own money. I could waste it if I wanted to. I felt obligated to honor her commitment to me participating in this event. So yeah, it was really relatable. Some levels, you know.
No, that's definitely relatable. And what a cool story. Do you still keep in touch with the woman? I love that story.
Her grandkids are my kids' age, and they all play sports together, but she did pass away a few years ago. She owns a realty company here in town, and we've used them for all of our moves and all those things after. Like every time we've moved across town or whatever. I guess we moved 3 times in this town, but yeah.
Wow. What a hero. That's a great story. I love that.
I didn't know that either, Brian. Learning all sorts of things.
We have to learn
Let's
something
back up
about
though a little
Mandy.
bit. Well, we got to learn something about Mandy, and actually maybe I will by asking this question is, how did you guys meet and what is the connection? Because I know that you guys work together now in you know, a role through Run Windsor and bringing events to the community in different roles. But how did you meet, and what does that look like?
Do you want me to tell it?
Yeah. So
Not both at once.
It was through. I was just curious if our stories are different.
That's what I'm curious about. Yeah.
What's funny about this, a lot of these communities, is you forget exactly the first time you met, because we're all so intermingled and so connected through not just social media, but like calls and motivational calls and other things. So I did some really big things a couple of years ago. Like I just wanted to get outside of my comfort zone. So both of you know this, like my community is my comfort zone. Run Windsor races, I'm surrounded by my family, by my friends, by our repeat runners who show up almost every time. When I go run races, I'm with friends and family. And a couple of years ago, I just wanted to just branch out and do something totally different. And so I went and did this crazy 29029 thing that's a Jesse Itzler all-day running company thing, big ass calendar behind me, kind of part of that whole thing. I did that, and it was the first time I was ever on a plane by myself. Like I didn't know anybody at the event. I didn't know anybody on the plane. And I met a kid named Jaden there. And long story short, he was friends with a bunch of other friends that we're all friends with, but I don't even think like you knew Jaden at the time. Probably not. I was left that event and had made like some good connections, but then saw a promotion for Running Man. And I was like, I might go to this. And I think I saw Jaden post that he was going to go to that event. And I was like, well, I kind of know somebody going, so sure, I'll go. So I went, and there I met a bunch of people that Scoletti knows, or at least a handful of them. And one of them was Gotham, Colin. And we were running these wild loops. He was dressed like a pickle. He was dressed in the pickle outfit. And I think I was like, why are you wearing a pickle outfit? Anyways, he was telling me that he and his buddy Scoletti were starting up these like adventure camps, and maybe they had already put one on, or Scoletti had, and Gotham was going to join him. He's like, you have to meet him. You know, he's so awesome. He's got all this energy. And so I think from there we just met. And I think when I met you, Scoletti, you told me that you wanted to get into MCing events, and you were working on that route. And I was like, well, I'd love to talk and have you. And we actually met in person the first time I signed up for and went to your 4x4x48 Savage Adventure Camp, which is near and dear to my heart. Just such a cool community of people who are our friends and my friends. And he welcomed me into his community, and I hopefully have welcomed him into mine. And then he moved to Colorado, which is awesome. So now we're neighbors. That's my version of it.
No, that's basically the same thing. I mean, Colin Gotham is a very good friend of mine, and he said the same. You need to talk to this awesome woman, Mandy. She runs races up in Colorado. And yeah, so I think we hopped on a call or something, and then you came to camp. And it really did align well because I had just started MCing bigger events, and the first one was like 2 months prior to that in Clearwater. And then it sort of just jump started from there. So I do want to give a ton of credit to Mandy because you really like were the first company like Run Windsor to support what I was doing. And it means a lot because it is near and dear to my heart because you were the first one that took a shot on me with multiple events. And now it's such a joy. My wife, Jessie, comes up and we get a chance to enjoy the races together. So very appreciative.
Brian, did you see what else Scoletti does that he needs to add to his resume? Were you following my Instagram this weekend at our 12-hour race?
I know of the MCing, but I don't think I know what you're referencing.
MC/porta potty mover. So that wasn't on the original deal, but it's been added on because I'm so competent at it, I think.
That's in the job description under duties as assigned, right? That's like the last tagline in the job description. Duties.
Nobody reads to the bottom, Brian. Nobody reads that.
It's in the invisible.
It just covers everything else. It just covers
it's in the ink movement. Written in porta potty water.
Blue.
That
porta
water,
potty blue.
And it dries clear.
I'm kind of convinced that Mandy tells the Porta John company in the wrong place just so I have to go out there and move it at this stage. I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
I mean, typically, wherever you put it, it's not the right spot, right? We know that.
It's the first time I had him help me move them. It wasn't in that wrong of a spot. We had to move it 10 feet, maybe. This weekend, I saw it, and it was at the top of a hill, like a mile from where it needed to be. And I was about to move it, but Scoletti had just gotten there to MC our race, and it's like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'd been out there since 3. And I was like, I'm not moving this by myself. So I thought about going and asking Nick, but Nick is like in go mode trying to get all the timing equipment set up. And I'm like, yep, Scoletti and Jesse will be here any minute now. And I'm just going to go let them know we have actually got to move the shitter. And we did.
You couldn't just hook it up to the golf cart?
Thought about that. Did. But then I wasn't sure. It's a rocky road, very rocky, and it's a pretty steep downhill. And so I had visions of this thing just tipping over. And then so we actually put it onto the trailer.
I carried it the whole way, which I thought was a vehicle. Yeah.
He's a 5-time.
You didn't splash one drop of blue water.
0.
No, he even went in afterwards and tested it out to make sure there was still water in it, and it was good.
It does give you an idea of the behind the scenes, Brian, of what goes on for anyone that's running out there. Like, it's just amazing how I have a new appreciation when we do run an event, like physically running it. Like, there's a lot that goes on to set this stuff up. And so a lot of it looks like it's so simple, and it's not. There's so many things that happen. It's given me a whole new appreciation for sure.
Yeah, as a participant, right? You show up, you get your bibs, you're like, hey, where's the porta potties are so full? Or, you got all these little quirky things you're thinking about, like the race director didn't do anything to prepare for this.
Yeah.
And then you run your race and you maybe weren't paying attention and missed a turn, but it was clearly marked. And then you get in and you're like, well, the 10K turned into a 12K and I would have ran sub 1 hour, but now it's 1 hour and 22 minutes because I got lost. But it's all really, maybe I won't go back next year because it was the race director's fault. And you put that on Strava. That's always the post. And then, and then you leave and you're like, hey, like, gosh, I thought there was lunch somewhere in there. It actually never said lunch anywhere in the thing, but you got a bagel and banana and you're actually looking for like a pulled pork sandwich or something and you're not getting it because it's not there. So I get it. Yeah, I totally understand.
You guys got it right. Secretly, all race directors, we do all of this hard work for next to no money, all to make you miserable and hate us on Strava. That's exactly, we want you to have a horrible time. We're just like, I could get up and make sure the course is marked, but I'm just going to sleep in until 5 minutes before the race. That's exactly how it happens.
Runners are resilient. They should find their own way. Runners are resilient. They should find their own way. I mean, that's how I feel about it.
Also, we're not in the Bronx. I used to say that at the beginning of our finish line. Like, Matt, you've heard me say that. I'm like, if you guys get lost, you're in Windsor, Colorado. Like, there's some pelicans and there's a hot air balloon above you. And if you get lost, you'll probably end up on a front lawn of a $3 million home and they'll feed you your pulled pork sandwich.
Maybe something better, quite honestly.
Okay, but Matt is also, we didn't talk about this yet. So Scoletti didn't just stop running at marathons. You went and did What is a 5 times Ironman?
Yeah, so a 5 times Ironman is so actually I attempted it for the first time, and we're in Colorado, and it's hailing right now. It is hailing big time. Welcome to Colorado.
Like currently at your house?
Yeah, it is hailing.
So I guess for a perspective, we're all in Colorado for those listening. Mandy is in northern Colorado, in Windsor, Colorado. It's about an hour north of Denver, I would say, right? An hour north of Denver. And then Scoletti, you're in the Springs, I believe?
Yeah, Colorado Springs.
About an hour south of Denver. So they're about 2 hours apart from each other on I-25 corridor on the Front Range. I'm on the western slope, and it is not hailing here, but you're getting pelted over there?
Yeah, it's like little marble size hail. Yeah, so hopefully the internet stays on.
Like hold your metal.
Yes.
It makes me like crawl under my desk and hide.
For those listening, we all know that Scoletti hasn't lived here that long because he's really fascinated by this hail. When you've lived here for 27 years like myself, or have lived here all of your life like Mandy, we just move on with our day. Like, oh, it's hailing. Let's just keep on moving on. Of course,
there's a tornado. You're fine. It'll probably
you'll be fine. It'll stop in 5 minutes. Yeah. It'll stop in 5 minutes.
You two are just chilling, and I'm over here like, oh my God.
We're like, why aren't you running in it, Scoletti?
I do want to be out there. That would be, oh yeah, it's lightning now. This is a good one.
Should we schedule this? Do you want to go get your blankie? Like, are you afraid?
Yes, I'm getting a little bit nervous now. I do also want to be out there running. So to answer your question, the 5X Ironman it's actually run by this company called Mammoth Endurance. It's basically the distance of an Ironman times 5 was the event I signed up for originally, which was in 2023, was the first time I attempted it. And it's a 12-mile swim. So it's not like you do one Ironman a day for 5 days. Like you do the full 5 times the swim distance, which is a 12-mile swim. And then you hop on the bike right after that and it's a 560-mile bike ride. And then you run 131 miles. So I think you have 5 days to do it. And
it's like a relay, right? Me, you, and Mandy could do it. I could do the run.
Yes,
Mandy could do the swim, and you could do the bike.
We could do that. Yes, we could definitely do that.
I was actually teasing, but you did the whole thing.
I'm bringing my
right?
paddleboard.
Yes, I did do the whole thing, but you can actually do that. They have events where you can tag in different people, which I think would be a lot of fun. Like if you did it where you had to do 12-mile swim, and each of us could you're good for a mile. I'm going to push it for half a mile. Then Mandy can go for 3/4 of a mile. So they do have team events like that. But this one was solo. And actually what happened was the first year I thought I had trained up for it. Like they told me to go in and do like a double first. And I was like, double, give me a break. We're going to 5, which looking back may not have been that smart. But so I got through the 12-mile swim. I mean, I was exhausted, but I got through the 12-mile swim. I think the furthest I swam before that was like 4. So then you do 12, and then you get out and you hop on the bike. And I was decent on the bike, but I wasn't as prepared as I probably should have been. So I got to like 250 miles in and felt okay. And then a couple miles after that, my left calf just really started, I think of my left calf looking back at it, just really started hurting. I had a horrible dismount on this one transition, and I just heard a pop when I came off the bike, and I'd never felt that before. So it was clearly some sort of torn muscle. I figured, I mean, I couldn't walk. And like an idiot, like I kept biking with my other foot, and I was like, let's see if I can just get done with the bike. So I got to 450 miles, and I was like, this is just stupid at this point because I'm probably doing more damage, and I'm not going to run 131 miles on a torn calf. So it was a torn calf muscle, so I had to take a couple months off. And then this past year, I think it was September of 2024, I gave it another shot in Wisconsin. Luckily, and my wife, Jessie, was there. My best friend and his family were there. And I actually started bawling the most after the bike because I had never gotten that far. So as soon as I got done with the bike, I consider running the strongest of the 3 disciplines. And I was convincing myself, like, if I can just get my running shoes on, it's game over. And like, I'll be okay. So it wasn't game over. Like, that was the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. And I had a stress fracture, which is why I think Mandy wanted me to move a porta-john 1 week after this event when I was emceeing her Windsor Marathon. But
you were in a boot. You were in a boot.
I wasn't. That's right. I was in a boot.
And I had safety first. And I was like, safety first.
What's that? Safety first. I was in a boot for like a month. I forgot about that. So Yeah, I do have to share something though, because this was interesting. I was talking to some of the other people at this 5X Ironman, and it's similar to any long distance event. Like Brian, you did Weld Your Metal, Mandy's event. You kind of become friends with everybody because you see them for days at a time, and it's just like you become friendly. And I remember I talking to a couple of people and asking them, like, what's the difference between an injury and just I'm in a lot of discomfort? Do I keep going? And this one guy told me, he's like, well, it depends on what you're willing to accept for the recovery side. On, are you willing to push through this? And it may end up being a stress fracture and you can't run for 2 months. And at the time I was like, yeah, like this is the last time I want to try this. I'm not leaving here without a medal around my neck. Like I'm going to keep going. So I thought that was interesting to look at it like the recovery piece while you're running or swimming or biking or whatever it is. And are you willing to deal with the consequence of you may make it worse, which will extend the recovery time?
What is the format? I mean, is it like they say go and the clock just keeps running and you could sleep like when you want? Or is there like sleep breaks from midnight till 8 a.m.? Or is it's just ran like an ultra? I don't even know.
It's seriously like what you said in the beginning. It's the gun goes off and there's only, I think there was 6 of us in our group. So I shouldn't have said that and said I got 3rd place and there was a lot of athletes, but there was only 6. But that's what it is. It's go.
Well, you beat more than half of them.
Yeah, I did. I did. Yeah, I definitely did. Actually, one guy he's the best ultra endurance athlete in the world. He showed up a day after it started and he still won. Like this guy is insane. Yeah.
Can you do that though?
We were talking about that. Like we all had to say, is it okay if he starts late? And I was like, yeah, like if he beats us in less time, like that's insanely impressive. And he actually gave me a pair of his shoes because my shoes were in bad shape and his crew, he's like sponsored by Hoka, I think. We happen to have the same size foot. He gave me his shoes when I was like 50 miles into my 131 miles. And I think he was right ahead of me at that point.
Story.
He had an extra pair of shoes, and now I'm obsessed with these Hoka shoes, and I'll just keep buying them. So, yeah, like the nicest guy in the world. But yeah, you can sleep whenever you want. The year before, I think I actually screwed up. I swam, and then I biked straight through the night the first night, and I didn't sleep at all. And I think in a 4-day event, getting sleep each night is definitely the way to go. So I rented – I don't think I told you this, Mandy, because this is – me attempting to be a man, and I rented an RV, and really I had this like little RV that I drove around Wisconsin so I could sleep in it. And I was attempting to drive a vehicle like that. I'm not like the most handy man, Brian, and I'm still learning to become a man's man at 41. I'm hoping at 50 I'll be a man, but we'll find out. But I did.
You're a man, but we also, there's a list and we need to find it. But Brian, we were at his Savage Adventure Camp, and like everyone listening, you've just heard just a sprinkle of the things that Scoletti has done. Like if you haven't checked out his Instagram yet, do. I'm looking at a picture of you and Jesse hugging. You're on Mammoth's homepage because I was going to look at the results, and you guys are like the cover. It's so adorable. But anyways, like manly man from the outside. But we also came up with this list at Savage Camp. And Brian, I want to know how you would rank on here, but we came up with a list of things that every man should know how to do. And Scoletti's not afraid. He brought it up. So he's not afraid to admit that there were things on this list that he was like, yeah, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do that. And so when he came out here, I taught him how to hitch a trailer and back up a trailer. So we checked that off.
That's a thing you should be able to do. Yeah. But now you do. Yeah.
And
so I actually think, I think there's like, I was an engineer in the Marine Corps. I have like an engineering mind. Like I will take shit apart and put it back together. It might not work as well, but it usually works okay. But I have like this engineering mind. And I think that I am like a fixer and maybe creative mechanically. But then there's like a different level of like thinker, like that's a creator and like just does different things, and I think we all have our spot. So I don't know if you need to know how to hitch a trailer. If somebody knows how to hitch your trailer and you can drive down the highway with that trailer on there safely, then who really cares, right?
Yes, that's true. Even though I didn't drive down the highway safely. I drove down a country road that I think I got there safely, but I don't know how to change a tire. That one still irks me. That one's like digging at me every day I think about it. I need to learn how to change a tire.
Some of us at camp talked about like finding your car sometime and slashing a tire so that you had to change your tire. If that ever happens to you.
Yeah, we had some good. I have to find that list.
What else? I was gonna say, what else is on this list? Because now that is kind of frightening that you don't know how to change a tire.
Like
As you live on I-25, like you're gonna go up to Windsor, and I could just see you on the side of the road with like your hands like up in the air, like I don't know. There's the
like this. I'd be thumbing it.
The tire has no more air in it, and I don't know how to handle that.
I never know if you're going to give me a compliment or diss me when you talk to me, Brian. I don't know when. It's amazing. I love the delivery.
What else was on the list? It was
lawn, like maintaining your lawn by yourself as a man. I remember saying this, and I debated this one, I think, at the time. Basic plumbing. Like if I jiggle the handle and open the back and jiggle that thing and it doesn't work, then I can't fix it. Like that's basically it.
Yeah.
Figuring out if there's power to something, like I don't know, Nick's
like tracking your power backwards.
Nick does this thing where he's like, it's getting power, and I'm like, I don't. Cool.
Nick could, like Mandy's husband, could build a shed in like a weekend, knowing nothing beforehand by looking at YouTube. The guy is a stud. He's incredible.
Yeah,
I think YouTube is really helpful. You could take a 10-minute YouTube class on how to change a tire on your car.
That's true.
Not even a class, but like a YouTube tutorial on how to change your tire on your car. And I think you'd be a safer driver in that regard.
You're probably right. I should know how to do it because I've actually had 2 flat tires since we moved here.
I-25 is bad. I mean, that is a nightmare
what
highway.
Did you do? Did Jesse change it?
Did you call AAA?
I called my wife and I said, "Can you get outside?" Actually, I got lucky twice. One, I had to go to the dealership anyways, so they changed it. The other one, I was able to slowly make my way to a tire shop, and they switched it out. So I haven't had to change it yet.
So there's only one time that I kept on driving on the flat tire. It was on a repair road in town here. They were doing construction, and it was bumps, and I was late for something, and I was moving too fast down the road, and it was clearly stated that there's bumps in the road. And I got a double flat tire on both right tires. And I only had one tire in the car, so I knew it. So in my mind, I just kept on driving right into the tire store and then parked it and then got on the bus and went about my day. And I forgot to call the tire store until like 2 p.m. to tell them my car was the one in the parking lot that needed 2 new tires.
Oh, that's a good story. That's entertaining. Yeah. I like that.
Well, I was like, what am I going to do? I can't change it right here. It's in the construction zone, but it's also 2 tires. Like I only have one in the car. I know there's only one spare tire. So
we're not going to go anywhere.
I just got to keep on driving on them. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to come up with a list. So we will. And then we'll interview you, Brian. We'll have a follow-up.
Let's back up to 5 by Ironman. Maybe that's what I'm calling it. 5 by Ironman. So how did you finish then? Like, what is the time frame that you start to finish was? The whole thing?
I think it was 4.5 days, something along the lines of that. And actually, my favorite part of the whole event, and I'll share this because I know you guys as ultra runners, and I'm sure your listeners can relate to this on some level. So I'm during the run, I'm probably 85 miles in, and doing 100 milers, they normally say mile 70 to 80, right around there, like the wall or whatever the version of hits. And I'm there. I'm at mile 85. I'm like miserable. I'm angry at how slow I'm going. I'm walking most of the miles, and I'm sitting there, and this guy brings me over a cheeseburger, and I don't eat meat, and he brings it over, and he's like, you gotta have this cheeseburger. He's like, you have to continue your ultra walking. And it hit me, like it ran through me, like I am not an ultra walker. I am an ultra runner. And it was like one comment that just sparked something. And Jessie, my wife, was there. And I almost went into this like trance for the next 15 or 20 miles. And you could see, like looking back at the Strava or whatever it is, like I think I was averaging like 19 to 22, 23 minute miles, and it dropped to like 15, then 13. Then I think I had a bunch in there at like 11 and 10. And it was just like, it was the most fun moment of the whole thing, because something just, whether it was the comment or I was frustrated at myself because I knew I had more in the tank and I wasn't giving it. but it was just that one comment that just, it's such mindset. Like I had that in me before, but I was in the little woe is me, I'm just going to walk the rest of the way, when there was more in there. And to tap into that for those 15 miles or 20 miles, whatever it was just a lot of fun it like proved to myself that me, and I think everyone else, has more in there. And tapping into that, whether it's running a 5K or a 5X Ironman, it's just fun to get to that level where you find a different gear within yourself.
I don't know if you remember these books where you could like choose your own adventure, and you like read a book and you read the page, and it was like, go to page 287 if you want to choose this, or 387 if you want to choose that, right? So you had that option basically when this guy's telling you like, hey, you got this ultra slog going on, here's a burger, so you can just sit in your sorrow. And I think some of us, including myself, I know I have in the past, where I've just like stuck in it, or it's maybe even made it worse. And you could have like just went on that tangent where that guy could have made you have the most horrible 15 miles ahead of yourself, but somehow you turned it around and made it the best 15 to 20 miles. How do you change that mindset like in the moment? And like, could you maybe just dig a little deeper into there and maybe try to recall like how that happened for you?
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. I don't know that I've ever been asked it that way, and I really appreciate that. I think it really stems from my history of being an alcoholic, where it was always the easy route. Like I took the easy way with everything. Whatever was easier. Well, I'm not feeling good, well then I can just drink and then I'll feel nothing. Or I'm feeling great, well then I'll drink because I'm going to celebrate. So I almost like have a hatred for that guy, like who I used to be. Like I despise him with every fiber of my being, and I'm getting goosebumps just saying that. And so I think when he made that comment, it made me think of who I was, and I'm like, no, like I'm not that guy anymore. And it wasn't like I'm going to show you, it was like I'm going to show me that I'm not that guy. And I think it was, I just telling a buddy this yesterday, like every time I go into the gym or work out or do the Manitou incline or run, there's 5 seconds, it's normally no longer than that, where I think of who I used to be. And like, I don't know that I'm running away from that guy, but I use that old version of me as motivation to be like, I'm going to prove to me that I'm not him anymore. And I think that's where, just in that 5-second moment of him saying that, I think I replayed all of those stories in my head of who I was. And I didn't want that guy to win anymore. So I think we all have this version of ourselves that is like that take the easy way out version. And I had somebody back in high school call me Maddie, and I despised it. So my Maddie is that version that's like, it's raining, don't go outside for a run, or you're an ultra walker, you can just slowly hobble your way through the rest of it. And that, like, naming it and like even seeing the face of the person that called me that and creating that like almost a character helps me to recognize when it's happening and know that I don't want to go that direction anymore.
I love the way you internalize it, and it's not really about the guy himself. He's a third party and a third party player in it, and it's really just all in yourself. So you weren't defying that guy and showing him I'm better than that. You were just being a better you than you were 8 years ago, 9 years ago, whatever it was.
That's exactly right. Yeah, and it was the perfect time. Looking back, I'm so glad he said it. And yeah, I don't even think he was there. I think he left right after that. But it was almost like he said it, but it was like me talking to myself also. Like I remember saying, and I remember the alarm going off and going, no, just sleep in for another 45 minutes. It's only one day, and then it's a week, and then it's a month, and then it's a year, and then it's, so that really helped me tap into that version, which I believe with everything in me that we all have that version where no matter where you are in any area, whether it's running, business, finance, health, we all have that next level. And it's so fun to try to see if we can get there. Like I wrote this speech years ago that was called Always Happy, Never Satisfied. And not that I'm always happy, but like, I think we can be happy, but not just settle and go, I'm done now. Like there's always something that we can continue to attack. And like, there's always another mountain, which I think makes life just so fun.
It's funny that you say that, because I recall a couple of years ago, I was doing an ultra. I was finishing an ultra, one that we're pretty familiar with. I was finishing Leadville. I was on the boulevard, which is probably 4 or 5 miles from the finish line. And I had enough time on the clock to get it done. I wasn't one of my fastest, and I wasn't going to get cut off. I wasn't chasing anything. So I was just going to get in, and it was fine. I was okay with it. But I felt myself daydreaming about the next adventure and the next challenge. I was trying to enjoy the moment more so as opposed to like already trying to put the next best thing on the calendar in my head. Like, let's get these 5 miles done at Leadville. Let's celebrate at the finish line with my friends and crew and family and extended family, at Leadville. But it's hard because like I was already daydreaming about the next challenge. Like, how am I going to push myself harder next year? Or what's the next best thing to do? Right.
Yeah, I think that is hard. I mean, I think and I don't know how you are, Brian, but I think I relate to that because for so long it was like you run a marathon, then you want to run a 50K, then a 50 miler, then a 100 miler, and then it's like, do you just want to keep going 200 miler, 400 miler, like what, or is it like at a certain point? And I think I don't know if it's like the ADHD brain or whatever, I get bored pretty quick. So it's like, now I want to see how fast I can get up this Manitou incline and run a 5K. Like I've never really run a hard 5K. So it's like, I think that's interesting to try to stay present in the moment, especially had you done that race before or was that the first time?
No, I had done it before. I was trying to be present in the moment, but I was also, I don't know, it was probably like my 6th or 7th finish or something at the time. I don't recall exactly what year it was. But I thought it was just so odd that I was already like losing focus of what I was actually doing. And I was already thinking of like, oh, come January, I should go sign up for this and that and this. And I was like, man, like, that's a little bit of a problem or a little scary, right? Like, why can't I just stay in the moment and enjoy what I'm doing right now? Because I've been working so hard for this.
Yeah, Brian, I think we're all kind of like that because we know we're better when we're doing these things. Like we talked about this a couple episodes ago. Like I'm feeling the itch because I don't have anything on the immediate calendar that really forces me to challenge the sleeping in or, really getting in more than 4 miles every day, like get back to 8 to 10 miles every morning. Like we know we're not our best selves when we're not doing those things. So like, I think it's probably human nature for us, for a lot of ultra athletes to always like, you need to have something on that calendar to keep you going and to keep that reason why going and that next adventure. And it's interesting too, because I think Scoletti's done very unconventional adventures and races. Like you're not just progressing from the 5K to the half to the full to the ultra. Like you've chosen some really unique adventures that you've participated in and that you've hosted yourself. Like 4x4x48 is such a unique event to host where you throw people in a cabin together and we have 5 a.m. dance parties with a DJ in a cabin in the middle of the woods where when I drove out there, I thought I was going to get murdered on the way. So I'm glad that I'm here today. You didn't turn out to be a murderer, but and you've like brought this into your life. Like, so Scoletti's also recently married.
Yeah.
So Jeff,
congrats.
Yeah. 7 months, just over 6 months ago. Yeah.
Yeah. And you guys have adopted this same lifestyle of adventure and unique things. Like I think on your way even here, which I think is always, I think it's just so adorable. But like every time you guys have a dance party outside the car, I'm just like, oh, they're so cute. But even on their way to drive to Windsor this weekend, they got out of the car on the drive and did a dance party outside the car.
Not on I-25 though. Not on I-25.
No, we pulled off. But I think we also posted, I think I said to Jesse, like, Mandy's probably looking at it like, they're so cute. And why aren't they here right now? Why are they 3 minutes?
The porta potty has to get moved. Get here.
But yeah, actually, that's interesting you brought that up because Jesse and I, my wife and I, talk about this a lot where that's a whole other aspect for me, especially being newly married. And we've done some races together. We actually did 100K together, like our 3rd month of dating. And it was so interesting because, again, it's like it's bigger than you. It's not about what how fast I can go or how fast Jesse can go. It's like we need to, as a team, we told each other we're sticking together and we're going to figure this thing out. And I think it taps into a whole other area for me where it's teamwork. And it's like, if I'm hurting, she's got to slow down, or if she's hurting, then I got to slow down. And you have to not get frustrated with like, but I could be going faster right now, or she could be saying I could be going fast, but we made this decision. So it was really I'd never done that before with anyone, like going that far of a distance with one person. And I think it ultimately brought us closer together. And also it was hard for both of us because you're trying to figure this thing out as a team. And it's almost like life. I think I've heard somebody else say this in 100 mile or 100K or 50K. It's like life within that period of time. Like there's these huge highs, there's these low lows where you're arguing, and then you feel tired, but she feels good. And it's like, it's almost like a life in one event. And I think that's what makes it so interesting. and yeah, we love it. So we're trying to figure that all out too. It's a lot of fun.
And what'd you do for your honeymoon?
Yes. And actually, this was her idea. This was Jesse's idea. There's this, it's called The Camino. So there's this movie called The Way, and she had me watch it probably maybe like 7-8 months ago. And it's a well-known like spiritual, and it has a religious component if you want that. It's like personal growth, spiritual, all rolled into one, where there's a cathedral in Spain called, I think, is it called the Camino de Compostela Cathedral, where one of the main saints is buried, and there's different pilgrimages to get there. So I think there's 7 or 9 different routes you can take. A lot of people, mainly Europe, I think Australia, and then there's a decent amount of Americans that do it too. You basically carry all of your stuff and hike between, I think the shortest distance is 100K. I think it's 62 miles. And the longest distance is the whole thing, which is like 700 miles. So, it will take you weeks to do that. We decided to do one. We didn't want to go over there for too long, but we carved out a week and did, it was I think we ended up doing 150 some miles over the course of a week. And neither one of us had done that either, where you're basically rucking the whole thing. And the weather was similar to what was just happening here in Colorado. It was, the first 3 days were horrible. I mean, it was a downpour. And I'll share one story just because this was inspiring to see. Day 1, we leave Porto, Portugal, and I think we had to do 29 miles on day 1. So it was like a heavy day 1, and it rained the entire time. It was a downpour. We had like ponchos on. We had these like rubber things over our shoes so our feet wouldn't get wet. We couldn't even speak for the first 6 hours because it was raining so hard. And the one thing I love about Jesse is, first off, it was euphoric when we got to the hotel eventually. I mean, it took us hours and hours to get there. We ordered like sushi to the room, and like we're having this feast because we're out there for so long in this horrible conditions. But she didn't complain one time the whole first day, which was the toughest day because the weather was so bad. And to me, it's like, that's grit and resilience when you can push through. When I knew she was hurting, like she knew I was in pain, but we weren't going to just sit there and go, how bad does this suck? Like our feet hurt, like I'm chafing, like whatever. Like it doesn't help the situation to constantly keep talking about it. So to be and I'm not saying there weren't moments where it was difficult and we're like, I can't believe this is our honeymoon, but also we didn't like just hammer in how horrible it was. And we just kept saying like, this is going to be a fun story to tell one day. And it is now. So when we eventually got to the cathedral and that celebration that her and I had, but there's thousands of people that finish every day, especially we did it in April. There's thousands that are there. So it's like this big group of pilgrims that's what they call them, who are doing this Camino. And it's similar to the ultra marathon. Like you're seeing the same people over and over again every day. You become friendly with people from all over the world. Some didn't speak English, a lot did. And to meet people that would want to do something like that. And Mandy, I think you're like this too. A lot of these events I love going to because who are you going to meet? You're going to meet people that want to do these crazy things. And I bet they have a pretty awesome story as to why they want to do it too. So we had a really, really good time, and we're hoping to go back and do it again because we did a lot of things wrong, which we want to fix. And also we want to try different routes because it was the most memorable 2 weeks I think I've ever had.
Yeah. That's great. And you did that, gosh, is it 4 months after, maybe 5 months after the 5-time Ironman?
Yeah, like 6 months. I think it was in, what was that, September, and this was in April. So yeah, almost 6 months, 6 months after. Yeah.
Wow, you've been busy, and then you got married and all those things. Yeah, gosh, you've had a busy last year.
And we moved across the country. Yeah, we decided to do everything all at one time and just imploded all at once. This Run Windsor group, they told me that the only way they'll let me MC is if we move to Colorado. So they was an ultimatum. So we had to move. That's the bottom line.
Came with a job description.
That's right.
Yeah. Other duties as assigned.
I'm gonna come up with a contract now just so I can spell out duties.
Duties.
I also have another question. Did you eat the cheeseburger from the guy at 5 times Ironman? What did you do?
Good question.
Absolutely not. I did not eat the cheeseburger. No.
Just wondering.
Did you swat it out of his hand?
I don't know if I swatted it out of his hand, but I did. I took it, I put it down, and I said, I looked at him and I said, I don't eat meat, and I'm an ultra runner. And like, it's just like,
it clicked, right? And then it clicked.
Yeah, it did. It clicked in a big, big way. So I'm so glad you guys asked me that, because really, that's what it was. It was me thinking of the old version of myself. That's definitely what made me. It was like a snap. I mean, I snapped for a couple hours. Like that is definitely why.
Yeah.
That is so cool. That's a great story. Yeah.
Well, thank you for asking, because you wanted to know something that you didn't know about me, Mandy. I didn't know that about me before we started having this conversation.
Cool.
So thank you.
Well, good. We all learned something new.
Yeah, we did.
Well, we joked at the beginning of this that if Scoletti wasn't interesting, we were going to cut this off in less than 12 minutes, but we've been on for 52 minutes and 41 seconds. So thank you for Scoletti. Clearly we found you entertaining.
I mean, I was at the 12-minute and 1 second mark. I started sweating, and I'm like, I wonder how much longer they're going to have me. So I'm glad we kept going. You guys are fun. This is such a cool format where we're like just having a fun conversation. I like this a lot.
It's all editable. I could cut most of the really funny parts out, actually.
So it will be 12 minutes by the time you edit it.
By the time I chop it up. Yeah.
He's gonna cut all of my banter out. I can feel it. He's probably just going to cut out all the times that I've taken a drink from a different cup.
Yeah, you do have.
I didn't even notice that. I got the same one the whole time.
I don't have actually. I was going to text my kid to get me a drink out of the refrigerator because I forgot it upstairs.
Do you want some? Of mine?
They text me to get them drinks from the kitchen to their room, so I thought it might be appropriate if I text them as well.
You should.
You do it when they text you. Do you go do it, or do you text them back and take a picture of the refrigerator and say, "Here it is, right here"?
No, I just I don't even play the game. I don't even reply. I just ignore it.
Just ignore it.
Within 5 minutes, I hear the stomping feet come down the hallway. do. And then like this big sigh, and then the door slam open, and then shuffling of drinks, and then the door slamming shut, and then the do all the way back down the hallway.
I think he really needed to get this off his chest, Mandy. I think this is great.
Well, Scoletti, you're catching us at summer break time. So I think before and after every one of our podcasts this summer, he and I both were like, the kids, like mine were stalker dialing me using their Alexa. And one time last week, I told them, listen, I'm going to stop answering. Like, I'm not even joking. So if someone is injured, you're just call 911 because I'm no longer answering.
I mean, is this why you're doing the podcast? Just so you can avoid, like, you can have a little mini break from everything going on in the
adult
house?
Conversation. It's adult conversation. You're correct. Yeah.
Was this even being recorded, or you just were using me to?
No, it's not recorded at all.
Therapy.
Yeah. It's just therapy.
Wait! I gotta ask you guys something because I kind of answered it, but I'm curious if it's okay if I can ask you a question. Do you both feel like, because you're incredibly amazing ultra runners, and I know your audience probably already knows that, but do you feel like you're running towards something, or do you feel like you're running away from something when you do different races?
Mandy or me?
I don't know. Whoever wants to jump in first. I'm very curious.
I feel like I'm running towards something. I don't know why, but I feel like I've got more to prove to myself or the world or something, and I can't quite figure it out. And I have this discussion with my parents pretty often, because you've met my family, Scoletti, and they show up to our races and they help, and they're my biggest cheerleaders, on top of Nick and the kids and our community. I mean, everyone is so great, but yeah, my parents are always like, what made you like this? Like, why do you feel like you need to do all of the things all of the time, both in business and in running and socially? Like, what is it? And I don't really know what it is. I think for me, it's running towards a really full life. Like, I really want, at the end of this life, I really want to know that I have enjoyed every moment. I've met all the people. I've heard all the stories. I've taken the big risks, and I just want to be the fullest version of myself. And I want to surprise myself along the way. And so I think it's that version of me that's like, who knows what the limit is, or what's like the coolest, craziest story you can tell, or things that you've done or accomplished.
I love that. Well said. I love what's the quote? Life is either a daring adventure or nothing. I think it was Helen Keller. That reminds me of what you just said. Running towards it. Is Brian going to say the same?
I'm actually not. I'm going to say it's maybe split. I wouldn't say it's 50-50. I'm going to say like maybe 60-40, maybe 75-25. I don't know what the number is. I'll go with 70-30 just because I didn't use that number yet. But I'm going to say 70-30. 70, I'm running towards something new, some new challenges. I'm trying to see where my limit is, and I haven't found it yet. I listened to Kevin Goldberg's podcast, Distance to Empty, and they always ask at the end, have you found your empty? I don't recall anyone ever saying they've found their empty yet, but I haven't found my empty either. So I think I'm running towards, where my limit is. Sometimes I find it, like a few weeks ago in a DNF. I found it that day, but I know that I could go back and probably conquer that some other day in a better circumstance. But either way, where I'm going with it is that I am running towards something. I'm running towards leading an example by example in my family for my kids, my girls. One of the coolest moments at Leadville, I was at the aid station with Simon and Nora. Nora was there. Simon was somewhere on the course running in front of me, probably. But Nora, all these people are attending to me at the aid station at Twin Lakes. And, they're all trying to stuff food in my face and try to do my socks and my shoes. And they're trying to do the pit crew style. And I'm like, hey, let's just take a breath. It's okay. Like, if I sit here for 4 minutes, let me just enjoy the 4 minutes. It doesn't have to be 35 seconds and out of here, So I kind of like backed them all off a little bit. And I heard Nora asking my oldest daughter, who's now 14, she was probably 12 at the time, but she said something along the lines, oh, isn't this cool what your dad does? And my daughter said, yeah. And then she said, do you think you'll ever run the Leadville Trail 100? And my daughter's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I will. So I kind of knew that hit home, at the moment, obviously it was super proud. Even when I say it, I'm super proud to reiterate that story. Mm-hmm. So I know that I'm setting an example every day. Another funny story about ultra. We were going to Boston in 2019 for the Boston Marathon as a whole family. My brother's family from the East Coast was going to meet us there. And in the airport, my daughter asked me, Dad, is it going to take you all night to run the Boston Marathon? And I was like, no, I hope not. I hope not, but you never know. But I had to explain to her that it was a 26-mile road marathon, and hopefully I'd be done by lunch, and that we could enjoy the rest of our day. But that's how involved in ultra they are, right? So like that's all she knows is that, oh, Dad runs a race. It might not be done till tomorrow morning.
It takes like 3 days.
Yeah. And so I think that's the 70%, but I am running, like you, Scoletti. I actually, I don't know if you know this about me. I know Mandy does, but I have been sober since 2016 myself, quit drinking and drugs. But I didn't find sport through that process, was always trying to struggle and juggle both. I had 4 finishes probably at Leadville by that time in my life. I finished Leadville in 2010, abusing substances and just kind of trying to balance some sort of life with work and the things I was doing at the time. But at 16, 20, I decided it was it. I had an accident. I needed surgery on my face to repair a bike accident where I was drinking. I didn't want to drive. So I thought it'd be the best thing to ride my bicycle to a friend's house on completely glass ice roads in my neighborhood in December. So I had this coming to Jesus moment where I found myself in the hospital. The kids are scared to look at me. I had gravel in my face. The gravel I found apparently, but the wheel didn't find it. And so the bike came out from under me. But I think I'm running from that person still. Sort of like you said, like maybe not running from it, but maybe trying to turn my back from it and move forward more so than like turning away from it and ignoring it. Not ignoring it in that way of like running away from it, but maybe just trying to be better, like you exactly said, I don't know how many minutes ago, but about the burger situation. So the same concept. So yeah, so I am trying to be a better person than I was, and I am trying to lead by example moving forward.
Wow, thanks for sharing that, and congratulations on your sobriety. We're going on what, 9+ years? Yeah, we're both sharing similar sobriety timelines. That's really cool.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, that's very, very cool. Plus, it's so cool. I appreciate you sharing the moment. Like, I feel like most of us, like addicts, like there was that moment of like, I'm not doing that anymore, and then it just clicks. So I prefer this life on this side, as I'm sure you do as well.
Yeah, it's great. And it's odd because I find myself in these conversations a lot. I know Mandy's fairly new to the podcast. She's probably only done 10 episodes. But when I did the 60 episodes with Simon in the year previous to Mandy's coming aboard of the show, I don't know, 3 out of 5 times it went to addiction and previous addiction stories. And I think that's fairly common in our sports world. Maybe unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know. I mean, as long as you're seeking help and using it in a positive manner, I think it's great. I want to flip the question, and maybe this will be the last question, but let's flip the question back to yourself, Scoletti. Are you running from it, or are you leaning in towards it?
I honestly, I feel like it's similar to what you just said, Brian. It's definitely, I mean, as I said, there's always a moment when I work out, exercise, run, whatever, and that image of myself as I'm like 165 pounds now. Like I see that 225 pound obese, alcoholic, lazy guy. I see it every day, and I think I like it because it's a reminder of who I'm not. So that's the first piece. And then to your point, I think it is, I'll say, would you say 70-30? I'll say 71-29 is my running towards. And then yeah, I think at times I have this image of, and maybe I'm just a visual guy, but like who I can be. And it's like, who can I be as a runner? But even more so, to me, it's not about the miles, it's about the mind. Like, it's just, who can I be for Jesse? Who can I be when I'm emceeing? How can I pour into these people and like make sure it's not about me, it's about them. Like, I'm celebrating these individuals. So I think I get more goosebumps when I think about like who I can become than the loser guy that I was for 15 years. So I'm with you. I think it's a smaller piece. I definitely always relate to the past, but I think it's running towards this version that, you know, maybe it's not even possible to get there, but it's fun to try and it's fun to see how close I can get to that version.
Yeah, and it's the people, a lot of the people too, and just those experiences. And for whatever reason, everyone's why, whether they're running away from an addiction and replacing it with, you know, a good thing to get a little more addicted is a strong word, but to have that consume your life. But I think like the influences, and Scoletti, you've influenced people beyond. I'm just at our races alone. And Brian, I mean, same thing. My kid, Alex, he wants to run Leadville. Like, his question all the time is, how old do I have to be again to run Leadville? And he's 10. And, you know, then Alex or Carter ran 34 miles at Metal. And, you know, thanks to people like you in our lives, like, we're so lucky to be surrounded by people that just normalize this, like, run all day, run all night. And for our 12-year-old who doesn't spend a lot of time in sport, honestly, like, we don't force sports on them. Like, he's, you know, we sign up for a rec sport if you want to. If you don't want to, cool, ride your bike, help us, whatever, you know, just be an active kid. But I know a lot of that is thanks to like you, Scoletti, being at our events and getting to know you, and that they can see that that's like what we do on the weekends is go to races and put on races or cheer for people. And I think the kids at these events is so cool. I hope that, you know, by emceeing not just our events, but all the ones that you do, like, you make such a huge difference. And that ripple effect is never ending. Like you say all the time, Scoletti says that we're just getting started, but it doesn't even end with you, right? Like, you could stop emceeing tomorrow and you already changed so many lives, and that ripple effect, like, who knows where that ends.
I appreciate you saying that. And yeah, it just feels so good to pour into other people. And I think it stems from a mentor of mine that believed in me when I was an alcoholic. And it was really, he believed in me more than I believed in me at the time. And he like saw an image of a healthy version of myself that I didn't even really see. And people ask me like why I want to give speeches and talk to groups. And it's like, I want to be to others what this guy was for me. Like, he gave one 45-minute speech that changed the whole trajectory of my life. And I just, the pouring into other people and just, that's selfless. Like, I used to be so selfish. And I think maybe that's, again, running away from that version that used to do that. But I also thought, Mandy, before, I know we're going to hop off in a second, if you just look at the people, and Brian, I kind of want to see if you relate to this too. If you look at the people that I surrounded myself with in 2010, it's like, oh my God, like, I don't even talk to any of those people. And now I would put the group of people that I surround myself with now in front of anybody in the planet. And it's just so interesting to see. I think if you have to upgrade the people you're around, if you want to sustain that level of a healthy, upgraded life. I don't know if you saw the same thing in your life or not.
Yeah, it's funny. I think Mandy, I might have talked about this maybe off camera with Mandy. I can't recall, or maybe it was on a different episode. But yeah, we've had this conversation before, Mandy and I, but I'll reshare it with you. It's fine. I drank in 2010. I did Leadville in 2010, so I had a Leadville family. I was a manager of a big facility, the Hot Springs Pool here in Glenwood at the time, in 2010. So I had a big work community. I had maybe 100 employees that worked at the pool at the time. So I had this big work community, and I had my bar scene community, and none of them really crossed paths. I don't know if you can relate to that or understand that. None of them really crossed paths. Now it's ironic, is I'll see somebody from the bar at the grocery store and they're like, "Hey man, where have you been?" And I was like, and I'll give them a little side story, or, oh, I'm still around, I'm still hanging out, I'm doing my thing, whatever it is, the little banter we give somebody in the grocery store. I know, unfortunately, I'm pretty sure that they're still doing the same thing. Like if I wanted to go find that person, I could go put my quarters on the billiards table downtown Glenwood Springs at 8:30 at night, and they're probably going to play pool with me. And sometimes when I go to these 5Ks in the morning, sometimes I see them staggering around town, like coming out from a bar or from a party. And here I am showing up to a race at 4:00 in the morning to set up some, blow up inflatables, and they're just getting out of the bar. And I was part of that crowd in the past. And it's just kind of like, I've lost touch with that group, and that's okay. Right. And at first I was like, there was a void there because I didn't have that interaction. I actually really do like to play billiards and pool at the bar all night long, but it's one of the sacrifices, right? Like I couldn't handle the alcohol there just to go play pool. And I'm, if you go to the barber enough times, you're bound to get a haircut. Is this how's the saying goes? So I filled that void with more ultra, right? And more running. And now I coach high school sports. I coach track and cross country. I have this ultra community. I have my kids' sports families, and my kids' families that are, we're all just intermingled this way. And then like, it's all work too now, because now I all I do is coach. So it's all circling, encompassing one thing, So it's a more bigger picture, one thing, and it's a much better community, obviously, just like it said.
I love that. No, thanks for sharing that. I think that's so cool how like you said, these relationships don't have to last forever. They can look different depending on where we're at in our lives. So yeah, I appreciate you sharing that.
Scoletti, what's coming up for you? It's it's almost the end of June here. We're getting into July. You've done a lot in the last year. Not that you have to do anything coming up, but you have any big projects on your radar, your calendar, on your big ass calendar? Do you have a big ass calendar too?
I do. I got mine. Hold on, mine's right over. There you go. Mine's right over there. I got mine right there. Yeah.
All right.
Well, you put X's through yours.
What's that?
You put X's through yours.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I put X's through mine. Yeah. So
that's how he knows what day it is, Mandy. Why don't you put X's on yours?
I never know what day it is. I don't know what's next weekend ever.
So Mandy, we'll be working together for at least 3 more races this year. So I have a lot of Spartan MC races, some local races, doing stuff with Mandy, a lot of speaking engagements in schools and businesses. And Jesse and I are just trying to enjoy our first year in Colorado as much as we can. And I do have this desire to see how fast, because ever since, Jesse and I met in the last few years, it's been ultra. And I think I'll always come back to that because I love everything about it. And crew somebody, if Jesse wants to do one or you guys want to do one, like crewing would be fun. I think I am going to try to run my fastest 5K. And then there's this Manitou incline, which I'm obsessed with, which is 10 minutes from our house, straight up the side of this mountain, 2,700 and some stairs. And I'm not saying I'm trying to set the record, but I want to see how fast I can do it. So this morning it was 31 minutes. So we're on record now. So I'm going to see if I can get it under 25 minutes by the end of August.
That's a big chunk. That's great. I love it though.
Yeah. So that's the goal right now. But yeah, we'll see. I love always having something on the calendar. Mm-hmm. I think that's so important to keep me moving forward anyways.
I ran a road marathon in May, actually in the Colorado Marathon in Fort Collins. And I kind of put it on it's not in my wheelhouse in the last 10 years. I'm really kind of an ultra guy, but it was nice to change the gears, work on the speed and get up on the feet and run a lot more than shuffle. So, yeah. Always a great goal to work on speed though. I think a 5K is awesome.
No, I appreciate it. I love working on speed for you is 26.2 miles. That's an ultra athlete right there. That's speed work.
All right. Officially, since I've been co-hosting, this is our longest podcast. So,
oh my God, I need to shut up. I'm done.
It's an hour and 12 minutes right now. I got to cut a whole hour out of it somehow.
Is it just going to be, this is Matt Scoletti, hello, and signing off. It was great to talk to you, Matt.
Yeah. Here's all the links to Scoletti. Thinking of links, though, actually, where can our listeners find you at and see you at the next Spartan race?
Yeah,
where could we see you on socials?
On social, I'm definitely most active on Instagram. It's just my name at Matt Scoletti. I have a website that's the same, just my name, mattscoletti.com. So yeah, definitely follow along, hit me up. And I love chatting about this stuff. So anything healthy living, ultra related, more mindset stuff. I love that. I'm obsessed.
That's great. And I think you volunteered to crew anyone that was listening that might need some help.
I did. I think I threw that out there without even knowing that I did.
I get into Cocodona. I should send him and Jesse an invite now for Cocodona right now, just to try to get it on their calendar.
You'll get in.
Oh, you'll get in. Yes. Is that the goal? That's 250, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that would be fun. Where is that?
Arizona.
The race director of that 5X Ironman, he did it, I think, this past year.
Okay.
Cocodona 250. Yeah, I'd be Jesse loves Arizona too. So, yeah, let us know on that one.
Yeah, it's the first week of May. I think it's like May 4th or 5th or roughly right around in there.
Okay. I mean, if I get like 12 DMs for people telling me I'm going to come crew them somewhere, it's your guys' fault. If you didn't edit that out.
Jesse's not going to be happy with us about that one. So maybe that's what we cut out of this podcast.
Yes. Like more time in Colorado doing fun stuff and hiking around like maniacs.
I love it. Well, thank you for joining us today, Scoletti. It was such a pleasure, as always.
I love this. You guys make it so fun. I love how conversational and easy it is to just chat with you guys. This is very, very fun. I appreciate you both.
Thanks again. We'll talk soon, Matt.
All right. Sounds good, guys. See ya.